enough of Keanu. Yes, it's true. Whenever we see you in another movie, get to wishing that you were in them all. Our hearts cry out, Keanu, haven't aged a day in 30 years. Now we're looking back on your career. Can't get enough of Keanu.
Welcome to Can't Get Enough of Keanu, the internet's premier Keanu Reeves podcast, in which we explore the filmography of that great, ageless, enigmatic Canadian actor, movie by movie. I'm Patrick Willems.
And I'm Jacob Torpey.
I'm Matt Torpey.
Hi.
Welcome back to the show.
We went to locution school, and these
right.
are our new broadcaster voices.
Hello.
There's something exciting about being the first person to speak on a podcast, and then introduce myself, because it kind of sets the tone for how everyone else will speak.
Yeah, I want a turn. I would like a turn.
You want to do the intro?
Maybe for the next episode. We'll see.
Jake, want to fight me for the rights to do the intro?
I'm gonna break a pool cue between you two, and you guys settle it out in the manly style of conflict and death.
Yeah, the classic Joker move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We were just talking about the Joker off mic. Specifically, everyone's favorite version of
Jake
the Joker.
has insider info. I think.
Yeah. We were talking about the Joker cut of Suicide
Squad, the beloved 2016 film.
Yeah.
And it's just
all my friends are heathens. Yeah, right? That was that was a good song.
Hit song from the soundtrack. Do you guys remember the other hit song from the soundtrack? It actually wasn't as big a hit.
What's the old?
But it had Jared Leto in the music video. It's called
I have no
Purple Lamborghini by Rick Ross and someone else. Oh my god.
Is that your Rick Ross?
That's what he does.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm a motherfucking monster. Right?
Jake, that was amazing.
Thank you.
That was
so
truly
good,
amazing.
dude.
Thank you.
Yeah. Jake's the Rick Ross of this generation, and definitely the Rick Ross of this podcast.
Yeah,
as
that
you might-
much could be.
As you may have
Guys,
heard,
I'm the Rick Ross of the podcast.
okay, listeners, tell us, figure out which rapper each of us is. Remember, we're three very pale, very white men.
Facts.
Exactly. The closest I come to rapping is at karaoke. I'll often
Is for your
perform-
Christmas.
I
Presents.
actually like that
we
joke.
have fun.
We don't even need a fake laugh.
I just like spending time with friends.
Yeah. What this is it's just me hanging out with my friends and inviting people into that environment.
It's true.
You can just slip in. As everyone knows that podcasts are actually secretly surrogate
TV?
ghost friends talking in your ears when you're alone, which is probably a lot of the time.
And what you don't know is that this is also the only time we are friends.
Yeah, we are at each other's
That
throats
is
after
true.
this.
Things have really soured after the Heart Hartnett podcast.
We don't interact very
sort of
much.
ended on a
How
very,
to
very
split the
awkward
riches,
note.
the spoils of war from that one.
Man, oh man, did that.
All the money we made.
Yeah, really ruined it. So we put on a good face, but there's protracted legal battles behind the scenes that the second the recording goes off.
Yeah, but the show must go on.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And by show, I mean Can't Get Enough of Keanu, the show for which we recorded a Smash Mouth cover as a
Sometimes
theme song.
I remember what we sounded like when we sang it, and I feel so bad for our listeners.
That is a wall you have to headbutt through in order to get to each episode.
Here's the thing, Jake, what you did not experience is, friend of the podcast and genius composer Brian Hose recorded the instrumentals for the theme song.
And we just besmirched
AKA the good part of the theme song.
Yeah.
And then we recorded the vocals, and then I was like, great, I'll just mix the vocals with the instrumentals. That's not hard. Again, I should be clear, I have no experience mixing music at all. I have only mixed like video stuff. And so anyway, there's a point where I put the vocals in there, and Matt came home and was like, can I hear? And I was like,
Let Matt hear.
Okay. And I I played it to you, but it was just like, I think with no effects on it at all.
Just dropped the vocal track.
The
onto
vocals
the
were
music.
just blown out so much hard. Like
It was brutal.
like louder. Yeah.
And I had to be clear, like, look, like
I was like, Pat, this sucks shit. What are you doing?
Pat, delete this immediately.
Yeah.
Eventually, I spent several hours just like watching tutorials about mixing vocals with instrumentals, and finally, I texted Brian and was like, "Brian, can you help?"
Googling how to fix your friend's fucked up ass voices.
Right. He was pissed because like you did you still did like I did a tremolo at the end and you didn't.
Who was pissed, Brian or Pat?
Pat. Not pissed, but just sort of like the perfectionist in him was like,
Matt's better at doing tremolo than I am.
I do it instinctively.
Yeah.
I feel like there's two.
Wait,
you're a better singer.
Were you in Choraleers in high school?
No.
No, you were just in drama club.
Yeah.
Matt,
You wanna hear
tell
something
the
annoying,
listeners
though?
about the drama club production you were
I
in.
don't want to do that.
Yeah, Matt, you were the lead No Nanette.
Yeah, ever heard of it?
Yeah.
It was something that the school didn't have to pay for
You
because
sang
Public
T for
domain,
two.
baby.
public domain. Like just drawing from that beautiful wellspring of 1920s
A free
Broadway,
20s
which everyone
plays.
will remember fondly.
You know why people pick No Nanette?
Also,
and
you can use
Bye
the
Bye
same
Birdie.
flapper outfits and
Yeah.
haircuts every year, so that
That's
you
right.
save on costume budgets.
Free, baby. Free.
Yeah, the school's definitely cutting corners. Saratoga High. And
Yeah.
they
No,
to
put
be
big
fair,
LED
we're putting them on
TVs and
blast.
lights. Yeah.
No. Don't put Saratoga High School's drama club on blast because you know what?
No,
they were the best in like the entire tri-state area.
No, no.
They won awards.
Schenectady had an entire like drama program.
More like try hard state area.
Yeah, where they would actually like students would
Try
actually
too
like
hard
like,
state.
learn about playwriting.
Yeah, but were
Yeah.
their plays any good? I never heard of it. Never heard any of their productions. Did
Yeah.
they do Once Upon a Mattress?
Yeah.
Did they do How to
Was it-
Succeed in Business without really trying? I don't think so.
Without
Yeah.
isn't it without even trying?
Whatever.
Wait, Jake, which ones were you in?
All of them, but I sucked, so I never had a good
Yeah.
role. I'll tell you my
Nick
chorus?
was literally like
I'll tell
man
you-
number 2.
Yeah. No, I was always good enough to get one line, but like never good enough to actually land a legit role. My
Was it-
biggest role, and I'll tell you this, it's the stupidest. It makes me so
Big
embarrassed
laugh
to think
line.
about it. It's a huge laugh line. It was in, I believe, the play Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Oh,
And-
Seven keys to bald pate.
I was
Wait.
I had a bigger role in Seven
was
Keys to
Thoroughly
Bald
Modern-
Pate.
Was that starring friend of the podcast Lily Holgate?
That was starring Lily Holgate as
She starred
Millie.
in that?
She was Millie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll be on the show eventually.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We can ask her all about it then.
Yeah. I'm sure she'll be happy to talk about it.
We'll just spring it on her. It's like you thought you were here to talk about Keanu. We're actually going to dredge up your past history.
No, you want to know something really awkward? Ask Chloe about the character she played, No Nanette. But
Oh,
we'll
I-
get to that later.
I know exactly what that is.
We'll ask her about that as well when she's on. But I
I
played.
bet she'll be excited about that.
Oh, yeah,
we'll
sure.
spill the tea on some early aughts drama club from a very specific time and place.
A less woke time and place.
Yeah.
Well, it
Foreshadowing.
was the 20s too that they wrote them, so it was
much
like-
less woke place.
Yeah.
So I played in Thoroughly Modern Millie. I played a composer. Maybe you heard of him. His name was George Gershwin. An American in Paris. Maybe Rhapsody in Blue.
Yeah,
maybe.
ever heard of it?
Yeah. So I played him, and I get a great scene, and it's a punchline that's just meant
It
to
really
just fucking
pops.
tear the audience apart. It's just have them bowled over in their seats.
Rib splitter.
So like I'm pacing around like a classy 20s party as George Gershwin would have done, and
Does anyone know you're George Gershwin?
no. But I get introduced in the party scene. So one of the other main characters comes up to me and they go, "Oh, Mr. Gershwin, how are you? So lovely to have you at our party. Welcome. Oh, and your date, she just looks absolutely ravishing. Her dress is, how do you describe it? A rhapsody in blue." And I had said earlier in the scene that I was having trouble coming up with the title to a...
Wait,
For
that
a
was
cer-
wait. How many
certain-
lines did you have?
I had maybe like 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So earlier in the party, I mentioned that I'm like working on a piece of music, but I'm having a hard time figuring out what the title is. I can't quite figure it out. And then I overhear this woman say the phrase "Rhapsody in Blue," and
Wow.
here's where the audience goes freaking nuts
Out of control.
because they definitely remembered that I was George Gershwin.
Remember that you'll have remembered that the seeds were planted that he was George
my
Gershwin.
eyebrows blast off of my forehead. They go so high.
Yeah,
and my
Captain
my
Crunch
finger
style.
points
Yeah,
up
with
into the
hydraulics,
sky,
right?
With hydraulics and Nas and shit. And I go sprinting off stage because I just heard the title of my new symphony. And
He all but said Eureka.
yeah.
Wait,
on his way
do you have
out.
a line?
no, I just go, and I just run off
Yeah.
stage. And I swear to God, like 5 people laughed when I did that. And I had to do that play like 8 times.
No.
And like nobody gave that much of a shit
You're
about
being
it.
modest. They had to do a 10-minute break.
Yeah.
It was like Woodstock 99 in there.
Yeah, Woodstock 99 when people got raped. What are you talking about?
That's how funny it was.
That's how wild it got.
People
Jesus.
just like
Oh, it was dark. It
porta potties
wasn't
being
yeah.
tossed through like flaming windows.
Jesus. Yeah,
Just
Woodstock
full-on
99,
riots
good example.
wait, that's why.
9 Inch Nails performed for some
Yeah.
reason.
I
wanna fuck you like an animal.
Did I ever tell you? Sorry, we'll get to Keanu real soon. Did I ever tell you guys about when I was working at like the Hall of Springs Catering and they did wedding receptions?
I mean, I know.
And they were
yeah.
doing the rehearsal for this wedding, but it's
Yeah.
right by this giant performing arts center. And 9 Inch Nails and Peaches were doing sound check during their practice for their vows, or whatever, or not their vows, but I guess like they were like,
while the couple was practicing their
like,
vows,
and you'll
9
walk-
Inch Nails was performing.
they're like, you'll walk up here and you'll look each other in the eyes, and they're like holding each other, and they're like, and this is where I will bless you. And then all of a sudden, just Peaches comes blaring on, sucking on my titties like you want to. And they're like trying to get through this. Like, yeah, a classic.
And this is where you'll
great.
pass the rings. You bring me closer to God. And they're like, that's actually appropriate.
Yeah.
I want to fuck. Oh, God damn it.
well,
Never
that's
mind.
also
Not appropriate
appropriate.
anymore.
By the way, speaking
Yeah.
of Matt's past jobs, I just want to say I just got a notification from LinkedIn yesterday. Congratulations on your 11-year work anniversary for the Breadbasket Bakery.
Up to your LinkedIn, dude. I mean, that is a professional networking site, and you work at the bread basket.
Look, every year I get the notification, congratulate Matthew Torpey on his work anniversary, and it's the place that he worked in 2008. Over this summer
Listen, man, I'm still a dishwasher, but they tell me there's going to be something opening up real soon at a cash register.
You'll get to go
Everybody that
upstairs.
listens to this, please try and send an invitation to Matt on LinkedIn.
Don't
Yeah.
bother me on LinkedIn. That's where I do all my networking.
It's your happy place.
Yeah, this might be the one sacred space online I get to go and just relax. Don't sully it. It's that in my Club Penguin bedroom. Which I got all the coolest furniture for. And my Neopets farm.
Oh,
I was about to say, what about Neopets?
Yeah.
So this
Club Penguin.
this is a podcast about the filmography of Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
talking about flying. Speaking of penguins, flightless birds.
Well, no, to make a really inelegant pivot, we like a penguin are going to leap into the air and soar backward in time.
And get eaten by the elephant seal that
In
is
the water, in the icy waters
that is
below.
Keanu's filmography.
Exactly, because the past 3 episodes we were
And not a
current.
leopard seal is what I meant, not an elephant seal. That's crazy that I said elephant seal, and I'm
Yeah.
stupid.
What's an elephant? Is
Yeah,
it?
you are
wait,
dumb.
wait,
Everybody
is
will
it just
remember
that.
a, a seal with a tusk? Well, I mean, like
A
tusks.
seal
and,
with a tusk?
well, I mean, sorry, a trunk. I meant a trunk.
Yes, they look like elephants. That's what,
Yeah.
hence
A
little
the
bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. What if there's just like an elephant head on a seal body, with like big
that would
big
be
ears?
that would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Wow,
That'd be
that's really
nightmarish.
freaking my bean out even thinking about something
I
like
know.
that.
Just
Its ears are part of the flippers. Wow.
yeah.
It swims with its
swims
ears.
with its ears.
That's cool.
It's like a Dumbo.
I love that.
So, look, the past 3 episodes, we were current.
Yeah.
We were trendy. We were talking
We were trending.
about. I mean, like last episode.
We were flirting with virality.
Honestly, yes. Last episode, we were talking about John Wick Chapter 3, a brand new
Parabellum.
popular movie.
Yeah.
And now this week we're talking about an old unpopular
Dusty.
movie that look, I'm willing to bet a couple bucks 99% of our listeners have never seen. Probably
Yeah.
have never heard of.
Oh,
but
yeah.
look, it's Keanu's first movie.
Yeah, this is where it all begins.
Where
Yeah.
it all begins. It's a movie with 3 titles.
That's right. Do you want me to list them out for you?
Jake, tell us about them.
Hit
This
us.
movie, the 1986 film Flying, also known as Dream to Believe, also known as Teenage Dream.
Wow.
It's a drama film directed by Paul Lynch.
Presaging Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
think
by
this
a
is where
lot.
she got the title?
Maybe this is the era she would have been watching movies.
Katy
I
Perry.
don't- I
How
mean,
old
I
is
don't-
Katy Perry?
How old is Katy Perry?
She's not that old.
Damn.
Yeah.
It. How old is she?
36, I'm going to say.
34.
Okay. Still,
I don't know.
that would make I don't know.
Nah, she's probably not watching Flying, though, at the time.
She was.
These are good
Let's
speculations.
speculate whether or not
She's 34.
Oh, damn.
she
She's,
is-
I was right.
Damn.
So
She's pretty young.
that means that she was born 2 years before this movie came out.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
2 years old watching it.
Really cool facts that were look.
Theory proven.
I mean,
Theory.
the thing is
Airtight.
that what people don't talk about enough is that this is the only podcast where people come to find out important facts like how old Katy Perry is.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And the answer is 34. We now know.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I'm going to assume that she's just a big fan of this weird 80s teen drama gymnastics movie.
Dream to Believe.
Dream to believe, which is a nonsense phrase.
Yeah.
What does dream to believe mean?
Well, it means you have to go through 2 layers of delusion to.
A fantasy.
Yeah.
But for what? Like dream
I'm dreaming-
to believe.
You had to have you need it to have a dream in order to
have
believe
something to believe
To have something to
Something.
believe in.
Right. So
Maybe
it's
it's
like
more profound than I'm
Is
thinking.
it like a chicken and the egg kind of thing? Like where's your belief or the dream?
It's an Ouroboros.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that whoever came up with this title thought they were being really clever by being
Yeah.
like, we want this to be like inspirational. We want it to be like moving and emotional. What if we just took 2 inspirational words and somehow awkwardly forced them into a 3-word title?
It's
Yeah.
like an Infinity War situation.
Maybe. Look,
Is
is
it?
Or isn't that where they like combine 2 like highly popular tests proven words that have the connotation that like draws
Oh,
an audience?
no. I know exactly what you're talking
What
about.
am I thinking of?
Okay, not Infinity War, like the movie from 2018. You're thinking of the
Secret Wars.
Yes, the mid-80s
yeah.
Marvel Comics event Secret Wars. Yeah, where they did like a focus group. It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
What are words that readers respond to? Secret and wars.
I just love that granular of research onto like audience reaction.
Oh, it's great. And that was the Jim Shooter era of Marvel. Like he was the editor-in-chief.
Right.
And where he oversaw a lot of like the greatest comics Marvel ever published, but was also like apparently a huge pain to work with.
Sure.
And he did like invent the comic event. And this is pretty much by him just being like, okay, let's figure out words that people respond to, put them together in a title, and then was just like, all right, make that.
Right.
Take it. Secret Wars, make that comic.
I mean, that shit just happens
give
on
you
a,
a
on a
word
just
buzzword
a-
salad.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all the time.
But so here's the thing. So this movie, also I was doing research about it, it's apparently in the public domain,
Yeah.
which is weird because that tends to happen with silent films, not movies from the mid-80s
Does that
starring
mean
Keanu
someone
Reeves.
just like dropped the ownership
It must
rights
mean that
completely?
somebody cared about it so little that the ownership
Yeah.
rights just expired and nobody even
And everyone's
bothered
like,
to double
what- yeah,
check.
whatever.
Well, which is one of the reasons why, honestly, the best place to watch this movie is on YouTube, where it
Yeah.
is just in full, no ads.
Yeah.
But, so I watched most of it on YouTube, but I also paid 99 cents to rent it on Amazon. Because on Amazon, it's called Dream to Believe.
Yeah, that's true.
On YouTube, it's called Flying. And the version that you can rent on Amazon, so listeners, if you want to watch this movie, here's one option, the worst option. And the version on Amazon is straight up ripped from a VHS tape.
Yeah.
It is
Nice.
cropped into 4:3 aspect ratio. It is all blown out and like super grainy. I mean, it's in 240p on YouTube,
Damn.
and it still looks way shittier on Amazon.
On Amazon. That's a weird thing to note, though, too, because I just always assumed for the longest time, and I've encountered this not just with this movie, that Amazon can buy. You would assume that whatever print you could stream on Amazon would be the best possible version they could get of it, but it's so not the case. And I guess
Yeah.
they just don't care, especially with movies like this.
No one cares
where
about
they
this movie.
assume that nobody else cares about it either. But they just put it on.
But it's also just interesting that they have a version called Dream to
Yeah.
Believe. And they look the same. The opening credits are the same, just the title. Well, like that one title card is the only difference.
What's weird too about this movie, and I was looking up a little bit about the background, is that it is a joint production. It is an international production between Canada and Hong Kong.
And it premiered at the Cannes Film Festival.
I did not see that. That's awesome.
Those two places joined forces.
So here's another interesting thing.
Create this?
The Hong Kong production company is Golden Harvest Films.
Okay.
Which is the production company that is primarily responsible, probably most famously for anybody who is into Jackie Chan movies from the 1980s. Like, it was the go-to Hong Kong martial arts film production company.
Great run.
Of the 80s. And this was one of their first attempts at doing an international English film. And so they just partnered up. What's confusing about that, though, and while we're talking about the title of the film and why it has 3 different titles, is that, okay, you'd think multiple titles. Well, it's an international production, so one of these must be the Hong Kong title and one of them must be the Canadian title. But all of these titles are in English.
Oh, really? So it's not
I'm
even like a
confused.
weird
Is it like the American
translation?
market? Is it the Canadian market?
It must be that. And the thing is, because this movie...
What was it called in Hong Kong?
This movie, like, honestly, I would get Teenage Dream is the Hong Kong title, because the 2 titles that are available to watch, like, in the Western Hemisphere are...
Flying and Dream to Believe.
Exactly.
But Flying is the one that is, like, thematically the only one that comes up in actual dialogue.
Yeah, Flying really seems like it was, especially because, there's so many references to flying. The gymnastics team in the movie is called the Flyers.
Right.
There's a part where not the title character, just the main character talks about how gymnastics makes her like feel like she's flying like a bird.
Yep.
And so that makes so much more sense.
Classic monologue.
Yeah, it really feels like Flying was...
When I'm out there doing gymnastics, all of my troubles melt away and I'm flying like a bird through the sky.
And I lose myself. Just like a bird
Have you guys seen the poster of this movie? Oh, there's multiple posters, but here's one poster.
Oh, I've seen these posters.
The one on
It's
Wikipedia.
confusing. Yeah.
But I like that poster.
Oh,
me too.
But here's the thing. It says Flying in giant letters.
Yeah.
And the main character is just sitting on a bench, hunched over.
She's like thinking.
She's doing literally she's kind of like imitating like Rodin's The Thinker.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the juxtaposition of 2 contrary things.
She wants to be flying.
Right.
But
You're
is
like,
not.
why isn't she flying? Maybe I should watch the movie, figure out.
What is the tagline on that poster?
Yeah, is it all like metaphorical?
Yeah, is there a log line there?
The tagline is, all she had left was a dream, ... and a heart big enough to make it come true, baby. No, it doesn't say baby.
Oh,
it
God.
should.
Oh, God.
Honestly, that's not an inaccurate tagline, because so look, we should not make this a very long episode because none of our listeners have seen this movie,
right?
And so it's gonna be
I could see people like I could see it
are really devoted fans.
I could see this movie having some like not just like fans, but like hardcore. Like, I watched this on VHS when I was a kid over and over, and I did gymnastics. Like, I can see like a small,
somewhere
zealous group of people.
But like, here's the thing. We know that, the episodes that are about movies people have seen are the most popular episodes.
Obviously.
This will probably be our least popular episode.
Oh, yeah.
Just statistically speaking, this is maybe the most obscure Keanu Reeves movie.
So I was just another like sort of broad, I guess, observation about the movie, because I didn't know it was a joint venture between 2 production companies.
Yeah. It's a Hong Kong,
but it's mostly a
production.
Hong Kong company. It seems like trying to break into a North American.
But it's also like a totally American crew.
Yeah, Bright Star Films is the Canadian production company. I just wanted to note Golden Harvest Films because I know this feels like a very, very strange movie for that particular production company to produce, because they made Police Story and Project A. And
I'm just
great movies,
great films. But
you can also see this is in so many ways a movie trying to jump on very current at the time trends of American cinema.
Oh yeah.
And but also one thing that I find very interesting about it is it's a Canadian production. It's set in Buffalo.
Well, that makes sense
yeah.
to me because it still needs to be an American movie. I don't know why, right?
The American marketplace was probably the hot place to try and break into.
But I would say that
Buffalo is like the place the most similar to Canada.
The place
It's
that they
the
could
place
still
on the
shoot
border,
in Canada
yeah.
and then also trick you, though.
And then they go to Niagara Falls for the climax.
Yeah,
but I just
right.
love like early on, because they don't actually say Buffalo for a while, but then Keanu is talking about like, the Bills game.
Yeah,
And
right.
then there's like a Bills poster on a wall, and I'm like, Oh, this was Canadian.
And it's presaging Bill
Yeah.
and Ted, and that's what they were doing.
Oh, the first time Keanu said Bill on screen.
Yeah, which is a huge milestone, and we notice it. One of my favorite aspects of the movie was the fact that it is set in Buffalo, just because like I don't know, we were sort of talking about the nostalgia of this kind of film, and this movie is seems like self-aware amalgamation of that already during the time when it was happening.
Should we explain to our listeners what this kind of film is? Because again, our listeners have probably not seen this movie.
Let's even do a bigger solid and explain the plot, basically. Like, as
Jake,
in
do
the
you want to
gist.
just read?
Yeah, read us a little.
Like,
Let me read the
plot summary.
Wikipedia article about the plot summary for Flying. It is as follows. Robin Crew is a high school student who used to be a champion gymnast until she suffered a knee injury in the car accident which killed her father. She continues to train on her own and makes her school's gymnastics team, despite outside pressures from her stepfather and the other gymnasts. Robin does, however, receive support from her mother, and Tommy, her
Keanu.
boyfriend, aka
Her new
Keanu Reeves,
boyfriend.
her new boyfriend, as the crucial gymnastics meet approaches. I can't read like looking sideways, apparently.
Yeah, so this movie is a very, very clear fusion of two specific things, and then I'm going to toss in a crazy third element.
Let's hear it.
It is a fusion of John Hughes movies
Yes,
Sure.
sure, obviously.
combined with Flashdance
Correct.
and just dance movies of the era, but mostly Flashdance.
Yes.
Flashdance is like the progenitor of all of those great
Right.
movies.
With then, out of left field, the wild card element.
Cries and Whispers.
No.
The Crying
I know.
Game.
Purple Rain.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the? I
Because-
maybe think I know why, but why?
It's okay. I thought of it immediately because Robin, the main character, rides a motorcycle all over the place.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Looking a lot like Prince in Purple Rain. Like she'll storm out of the house and hop on her motorcycle just
Yeah.
like Prince in Purple Rain. But also just like the sort of kind of abusive, dysfunctional home life.
Right.
Specifically with the father. That reminds me a lot of Purple Rain. Like generally in John Hughes movies, it seemed like the main character would often be some sort of kind of like not popular in school, but would often have like a relatively stable home life. I'm thinking of like 16 Candles and
There'd be-
Pretty in Pink.
Well,
Yeah.
with
There's a
this
nurturing
movie-
environment at home for them.
Yeah. This movie goes darker than John Hughes tends to. Like
Definitely.
John Hughes is more obsessed with class as like essentially an analog that trickles all the way down into the high school hierarchy of so like rich and poor people essentially are just kind of always antagonistic
is-
with each other.
Like very present in this movie.
But like you were saying, it's usually a single parent or some sort of struggling family situation, but they're like tightening their belts and like they seem very close and like warm to each other.
Right. Like 16 Candles, her family forgets. Sorry.
Her dad.
They fucking forgot her birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like later on, her father like apologizes for forgetting her birthday, and they are like kind, supportive parents. Pretty in Pink, they don't have a lot of money, but her Molly Ringwald's like single father is still very supportive.
Right.
And here you've got
They may not be perfect, but they mean well.
exactly, and like the actually bad people are the rich kids.
Right.
And here,
Except for the one bridge between, which
Yeah.
this movie also has.
exactly. But who's also not really the love interest.
No, you're talking about Mark,
Yeah, I'm not talking about Mark.
the hunky boy
the friend. Well, okay,
who uses the erg
that's
in
where,
the gymnastics room.
Yeah. Well, that's where it gets muddled because the John Hughes movies, like the storytelling is very clean, very
Right.
organized. Like each character serves a very specific function. But here, so you've got the main character's home life. Again, her father died in this car accident where she injured her knee.
And they used to live in liberal, cool San Francisco, and now they live in dreary old Buffalo.
Yep.
Cold all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't seem as cold as Buffalo probably should.
No,
seem.
I have never been to Buffalo, but this movie actually made Buffalo seem kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
it's
not gonna
all
lie.
set in the fall. It looks
Yeah,
like.
it looks lovely.
So it's not like this is like
It looks
wind-
absolutely lovely.
Honestly, I'd kind of like it if it were winter in Buffalo, and,
Yeah.
and there's just like 5 feet of snow.
Yeah.
Everyone is just like everyone's faces are covered when they're outside with like 5 scarves.
Everybody's walking outside just going, fuck, fuck, fuck. She drives her motorcycle and it gets stuck in the slush every other scene.
Yeah, that'd
And
be
she has to
good.
push it out.
Honestly, that would be great.
That would be cool.
The thing about that is, I just think from like a production standpoint, like I would like to make a movie where that's the setting, but then you just have to deal with like having to make that snow fake.
Yeah.
Because you can't just assume, oh, it's going to snow, and the weather will cooperate with us for a whole shoot.
Yeah, and then your actual film crew also has to deal with the issues involved with snowy weather.
Right.
Which is a pain in the
nightmare
ass,
in general.
yeah.
Oh, but the thing that I was just going to say was just like giving the rest of the background on
Right.
her family life. So yeah, they've moved to Buffalo. Her mother has remarried this real jerk.
Yeah,
of a
he's
man.
like just a piece of shit,
Yeah,
and
he-
it's so bizarre.
and he
that
seems to run like a dry
a
cleaning
laundry
or like a
cleaners,
laundry-
yeah.
cleaner. Oh yeah, dry
yeah,
cleaners,
where she works.
Yeah.
And so he's like, he's not like constantly abusive throughout it. He like near the end he shows up and ooh, there's those sirens. Must be a murder
Death
Yeah.
nearby.
in the streets.
The criminals are at it again. But yeah, but he does like he's going to hit her like at like near the end. But it's not
He's a total piece of shit.
right. But
But he
it's not-
does hit her at the end.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then characters rush in and like hit him. We'll get to that. That's weird. But it's not like he's like constantly abusive throughout. He's just like shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but she's close with her mother, and then she also has a stepsister who just sucks.
Yeah, well, she's just annoying.
Well, no, she doesn't-
She's frivolous and just kind of an airhead.
Right, and they don't get along.
Right.
They don't get along, but I don't know. I feel
I
like
don't
I'm
think she's
going to
meant
go
to
into
be
a
evil.
defensive posture on this movie a bit.
Sure.
Just for the couple things that I actually thought were like redeemable. And one of them is just kind of the confusing, unclear nature of a lot of these people's characters. Like,
Right.
yeah, so she sucks. Like, she's just like, but you know, as the movie goes on, you realize, yeah, this is her stepdad, but her stepsister, that's her just biological father. Where's their mom? He's an alcoholic. Like, can you imagine? Like, so she's
living
just,
that
she's
life,
just trying
yeah.
to like find father figures and is clearly like dating older men who are like running like bum
Right.
business ventures with like
Yeah.
pet fish or fucking like gravel
When
or
I say
whatever.
she sucks,
Yeah.
I mostly meant from the perspective of the main character because like they don't get along.
Yeah, they
Right.
butt heads.
Yeah, as a character, she doesn't suck.
But she also like empathizes with Robin. It takes the death of her mother, but like
Right, and well, yeah. Then
Yeah.
saying that this gets darker than John Hughes movies, it does take that really dark turn when her mother dies like 2/3 of the way through the movie.
Yeah. Right.
and then suddenly she's lost the one like constant in her life.
Yep.
And now she's just alone with her like awful alcoholic stepfather, her stepsister that she doesn't get along with, and
Mark, the cutest guy in the gymnastics room, he's like barely paying her any attention. He's just on the rowing machine and getting beads of sweat are just rolling off of him, and all of these other girls in the gymnastics class are gawking over him. And he's just like sitting there smiling with this big, stupid, empty smile on his face.
but he's nice too. It's
He ends up
the
being
girls
nice.
on the are like the
yeah, no, Mark is
Sadistic.
perfectly nice. The weird thing about him.
is that they just forget that he was even in the beginning of the movie?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like the romance of the movie because Keanu, like before I saw the movie, Matt, you were telling me Keanu is Ducky.
Yeah, Keanu plays Ducky essentially. But if Ducky
Donkey.
video game Ducky, that's what I was just thinking of.
Ducky, he's good at basketball. This Ducky.
It's Ducky if Ducky got to fuck.
It's Ducky if Ducky was super cute and didn't know it.
Yeah, he's Ducky, but also with a little bit of Judd Nelson from The Breakfast Club.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Because he plays the like. Again, I mean, this movie seems to be what?
In this movie, Ducky fucks.
Fuckminster Fuller. I don't even know what that means, but
Whatever, just roll with it.
It's content.
Geodesic dome. Give me geodesic dome. Whatever. That's a good joke. Well, because this movie. Shut up. I can hear the roaring laughter of the audience.
Okay.
That isn't you.
I'll add it in post.
Okay, thanks. Because this movie, again, now that you've mentioned, I didn't know before that it was not an American film, is clearly like this studied recreation of hit themes from like the 2 years previous.
Yeah.
Right? So like
Everybody's running in on that Flashdance
when
craze.
did Pretty in Pink come out? Is this was it before or after this?
I'm pretty sure Pretty in Pink came out before this. The thing about Hughes was that he made so many like classic movies like really close together. So I always tend to just forget the actual timeline of them.
Yeah. But like, so
I'm looking it up right now. Okay. Oh, so here is John Hughes' filmography. Actually, let me look up his writing filmography because he didn't direct all of these. Okay. So we've got 16 Candles in 84. And remember,
right.
this is an 86 movie.
Right.
Breakfast Club, 85. Weird Science, 85. National Lampoon's European Vacation, 85.
Damn.
Pretty in Pink, 86.
Whoa.
Same year as this. Also
Same
Ferris
year.
Bueller, 86.
And
Okay.
Some Kind of Wonderful is after.
Yeah, Some Kind
this
of Wonderful
movie, but that's-
and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles,
Hughes correcting himself.
87.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so really, Hughes was cranking out like 2 movies a year.
So he was just like infusing the 80s with
Well, you know what's funny?
his like stories.
Yeah, Hughes, now that I'm looking at this, really just did his greatest hits in 3 years.
That's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and then it was pretty much with
84 to 87.
yeah, like Some Kind of Wonderful was the last teen movie he did. He's kind
Yeah.
of like, I'm done now. And then like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I think, is like a shift.
That movie's
because
great.
It's really great.
Yeah.
It's also like the one great Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah.
But that was him shifting into just more slightly. I mean, still a comedy.
Yeah.
But like slightly more adult, more mature subject matter. And because then after that he does She's Having a Baby. And then he stops.
What a terrible title for a movie.
I've
She's
never
Having
seen
a
that
Baby.
one. And then mostly switches to like, writing. He writes like Home Alone 2 years later.
Yeah.
Right.
And
still crushing it.
yeah, exactly. But his run of, it's funny how he like defined teen movies, and it was entirely in the span of 3 years.
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
It all sets the stage for this one even more because like 86 firmly there in the zeitgeist at this point, like
Yeah.
just and with the same basic movie coming out,
Also, let me look up what year Flashdance was.
So it's okay. Jake's gonna go BM.
We can say that because he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah.
Oh, Flashdance was 83.
Okay, cool. Everything's making sense. The timeline works. Tommy, Keanu Reeves, our boy.
And specifically, can we clarify?
Ducky archetype.
It's definitely, it is definitely a Flashdance like influence because Dirty Dancing was 87.
Ah, okay. Well, yeah, because like again, another strong like component of the movie, as I guess the original soundtrack.
Wait, no, Matt, it's not a Ducky archetype because Pretty in Pink is what Ducky's from, and that was the same year as this.
You think really?
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
But you know how like Ants and like A Bug's Life, those like weird coincidental
Right.
like, Capote movies, like all that shit. Like,
But also like
did they spy on them? John Hughes.
But even like the thing is like that sort of role, like he's you could also view Keanu in this as a fusion between Anthony Michael Hall in 16 Candles and then like Judd Nelson in The Breakfast Club.
I guess that's true.
I mean, like he is just the kind of like outsider best friend who becomes the love interest.
Right, with like a strong sense of like fashion. That's
Yeah.
what I was more thinking when I thought of Ducky, was like this person who's like not like who's like kind of ignorable by the main character. They're hopelessly in love with them. They're like kind of an outsider and they wear crazy clothes.
Boy, his clothes are crazy.
And his clothes are all crazy.
Yeah. Also, Keanu gets his own best friend, who's just
Yeah.
like like nerdier and has like curly hair.
Yeah, and is
Yeah.
Jewish for sure.
Yeah. Can we talk about Keanu's outfit? His first appearance in the film and what he's wearing?
Absolutely.
What is he wearing again? I forget.
He's wearing fucking a t-shirt under his thing under his
thing?
blazer.
His wildly patterned
Okay,
coat.
so he has like a crazy patterned blazer
We'll
with a
also
popped collar. that
We'll
he's
put
wearing.
screenshots on the Twitter.
Yeah.
And on the subreddit and
Oh,
all
yeah.
those things where you can follow us.
Yeah, it's like multicolored, kind of Hawaiian, floral patterned maybe. And then underneath this blazer that he has on, he's also wearing a cow patterned shirt or something.
right,
It's like
yeah.
black and white spots.
Right.
And he's telling a story about how his teacher didn't like the clothes he was wearing.
Yeah.
And so he got detention because he started disrobing in class.
And he's telling Robin
What a
this
wild card.
this funny story about how he took off all his clothes, secretly trying to plant the notion of his nude body in her,
Yeah,
in her
Right.
mind.
Trying to just insert that image.
Yeah.
And
but
her-
can we talk about just like the evolution of the romantic storyline in this movie?
Yeah.
Because it's odd.
Well, she's disgusted by him first.
Well, he's just
Not
like
disgusted, but she's just like,
like,
you're
ugh.
like my little brother,
Right,
Like
yeah.
that kind
Ew,
of thing.
get away.
He's the classic friend zoney,
right.
bullshit of
He's like her funny. He's Ducky.
yeah,
yeah, except he's Tommy Wernicke.
Yes.
Or Tommy
And so-
Wernicke.
If
and
Tommy
she-
were Nicky, he'd get some hickeys from Robin His Love.
And so
And
and
that
then
ain't
they
no
get
tricky.
married and she'd be Robin Wernicke.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what Robin. Yep.
And so, but she has a crush on Mark, the hot guy on the gymnastics team. Also,
Right.
are there other dudes on the gymnastics team?
Just Mark.
it seems
Mark.
like all women and then Mark.
Pat,
Just
he's
Mark-
not even on the gymnastics team.
He's
he
just
just
working
rows
out.
in the corner.
Yeah, he just works
of
out
the
there.
room.
Right.
Because he's dating the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one.
And that is officially the first of many to come Homestar references on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, Teen Girl Squad, fucking.
Bringing it back
Bring
to
it
the early
back.
2000s. But well, also I do think one of the issues with this movie, one of the elements, or one of the places where it doesn't live up to the Hughes influence, is just how the mean rich kids are not as well defined as they are in
They're
Hughes
like
movies.
cartoonishly mean and never change.
Right. And we also we never see much of their interior lives.
Right.
I mean,
No.
we learned it's Pretty in Pink where we have James Spader as, is it Blaine?
Steph?
So Steph,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it.
I think it's Steph, one of his finest roles, where he's just, she's a zero, lose her. Just like no
James
shirt,
Spader.
big,
Right,
big
yes.
powdery blazer on. Just
It is
Huge, thick,
yeah.
curly James Spader, early 80s hair.
Early
before
80s
he
hair,
lost
before
his
he
hair.
became
as
hat,
Steph,
man.
spelled Steff.
yeah, that's the best. What a good name.
Yeah, he's so good there.
He's like, Blaine, she's poor.
Ew.
Ew, how are you even touching her?
right.
Get
And
that
so,
trash out of my big home.
but he's also
my big home.
he is a character who's also has a clear personality and is fun to watch.
Yeah.
And the mean rich kids in Flying / Dream to Believe are so
/ Teenage Dream.
they're just not as well defined.
No.
And
They're just pure evil.
I can't remember their names.
No.
But Mark, so he's the guy.
Mark.
He's nice. He's cute. She has a crush on him. Do you guys remember why she stops having a crush on him?
No, okay. I was going to
Yeah,
ask you guys
good.
this. There's an abrupt shift
he's
where
already dating somebody.
not made clear though.
It's
And
not
he
made
starts
clear.
to seem like he's into it.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna yeah.
And there's the part where she gets tricked into in a Mean Girls scenario,
Right.
And where she gets tricked into showing up or incorrectly dressed for a fancy party,
which is way more convoluted a plan than just making her go to a place where no one's at. She actually does get invited to a real party that's happening. Right.
Yeah.
She's just dressed not in formal wear, and that's the joke. And everyone's like, "Oh my god!
Right.
Look at this street trash blown in from
and she also it's the one time that she decides to dress really elaborately in terms of 80s club fashion.
not like a lesbo, as her dad said to her.
Oh my god.
Right.
Why don't you dress hot like your sister?
Yeah.
But yeah, she has this. Oh
my God, her
this
dad.
weird, almost Boy George-ish makeup on.
Yeah,
and it's
she puts dots all over her face for no reason.
And it's why does she?
Krillin.
The only time.
I think that's the reference she's
Yeah.
going for. I think she's doing a Krillin
She's
reference.
showing up like Krill. She's cosplaying as Krillin.
Or,
to this thing.
or did they get the idea for Krillin's design from this movie?
Whoa.
When we
Yeah.
get the creator of Dragon Ball Z on the show
To discuss
we
his
can have him
influences.
Yeah,
discuss
dude,
the Krillin
come on the
influences.
show, talk to us about early 80s Keanu movies.
What's the
Yeah.
name of the one girl who like just arbitrarily and randomly takes, I guess, pity and wants to be friends with Robin? What's her character's name?
I'm trying to look it up.
She is the person who is rich but nice. The
Yep.
classic bridge into that
Is
world.
it Carly?
Eh.
I'm on IMDb, and well, the problem is all the cast photos are of them much older,
Oh, interesting.
and so I don't like. Is it?
It might be Carly.
Yeah. So there's like this other girl. She's new, right?
Is she?
Isn't she new to town? But she's rich. Like her dad is a doctor who built a dance studio in their house where they can
a
practice.
gym.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
she says like, your dad has a whole gym. What is he, a millionaire? She's like, he's a doctor. Same difference.
well,
I'm
she's,
like, no,
she's
it's
like not quite.
Yeah.
He's a doctor.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
She
it's
doesn't
just-
even practice in her friend's gym. She practices in an abandoned warehouse.
Right,
Where
but
the
like-
night guard dances
Oh wait,
with
wait,
her.
okay.
Oh, no,
Can we rewind? Rewind.
No, wait. We'll get.
Sorry.
We will get to that.
What the
because,
fuck?
Because right now we need to finish talking about like the romantic
Yeah,
storyline.
okay.
Because
Sure,
there's
sure.
a part where Tommy Keanu
Yeah.
has a crush on her, and he's talking to his nerdy best friend,
Yep.
his nerdy Jewish best friend,
Who's just
Yep.
like, hey man, you got the hots for her. Just
Yeah.
ignore her.
right? And,
Put
and
on
he-
sunglasses.
Okay, but also here's the thing.
Don't make eye contact.
So they present
Neg her.
They present this idea like where he's like,
Establish Keno.
just ignore her and she'll be into you. And he's like, okay, I'll try it.
I'll try it.
But then, so he starts just like hanging out with her less, and it does get to her how he's like, they're not hanging out as much. But then also, he seems to just be like dating other attractive girls.
Well, this
Yeah.
is the problem: is that he gets a girlfriend almost immediately after stopping pursuing Robin, and that poor girl. We never even get to hear one word she says except her laughing at his funny jokes.
Yeah,
that he's
'cause
definitely
he's
telling.
charming.
And then she's just gone the second that Robin expresses interest. Like no
Right.
fanfare whatsoever.
And Robin expresses interest by walking up to some sort of scaffolding and hanging upside down and just going, Tommy!
yeah,
Just
and
making
sticking her
farting
tongue
noises
out.
and
Yeah.
sticking her tongue at him.
And
Like
he's
the
like-
most obnoxious way to get somebody's attention.
Hey, Tommy.
It's weird because like, the idea that is presented to him is like you just ignore her and
Yeah.
she'll like want you, but instead of
And it
ignoring
works.
her, it's more like
Fellas,
but
drives the ladies
but he gets another
crazy.
girlfriend. But
Yeah.
it's like I thought this guy is supposed to be unpopular.
Yeah.
Why does he's just suddenly like land a girlfriend that fast?
Yep.
And who then disappears from the movie.
Yeah.
And then she does get jealous. Not because he's ignoring her, but because he has another girlfriend.
Right.
And then her mom dies. And then they hang out, and then they hook up, and then his parents go out of town, and she doesn't want to stay at home, and then they just immediately are having sex. And
Oh,
it's
they
like,
have like a lovely 3-day weekend, it looks like.
Yeah.
At the Wernicke household.
He tries to make her breakfast in bed
Yeah.
and all that, and I'm just like, and it escalates so fast, and
Yeah, it
Mark
does.
also disappears. From the
Yeah,
movie.
Mark fades away like the bland character he was anyway.
And
Yeah.
the thing is, like,
he just lives in a prison of his own making with
Right.
that horrible rich
He
girlfriend.
probably
has.
just goes back to his room, which has no furnishing in it, and stares at a wall
You're
smiling.
forgetting that at
eats
the party
one boiled
scene,
egg,
Has a tall glass of milk.
has a tall glass of milk, goes to sleep.
at the rich fancy party where she gets embarrassed.
Yeah.
It's at his house. His father tells her to leave, and he's like, "But Dad," and then
This
she
is my
leaves.
friend, and he's like, "Get this trash
Yeah.
out of my."
She's a bad influence on my son, Mark.
That's what's weird. He sticks up for her at his party.
yeah.
And then after that, he's just like not in the movie anymore. I feel like okay, I'm just gonna do some script doctoring.
Sure.
Here are things that you could do.
Delete Mark.
You could have him be a dick at that party,
Yeah.
and have that be a turning point for her, where it's like, oh, I can't trust these people. This guy that I've had a crush on is just one of them, and therefore he's done. He's no longer
Yeah.
It's
like
the
a
banality
romantic
of evil,
prospect.
man. Fucking Hannah Arendt.
Yeah, well, he plays the fantasy, which then needs to have a little bit of reality injected into it. He's the dream that he's the ideal that she thinks she wants.
Right.
At the beginning of the movie, who then reveals himself to be.
But he doesn't.
That's what I mean, though. That's what they should have
done. He doesn't
done.
reveal himself.
Yeah.
Like, he just stops being in the movie. And also, they should have combined Mark and the nice rich girl on the gymnastics team who ends up struggling to lose the weight she has for the competition, and then starts taking pills.
They inject I think they inject what I'm assuming to be an anorexia / it seems like maybe bulimia. Like, she has an eating disorder, essentially. It's like I was kind of like almost surprised to see that be introduced, and I was like, okay, this will continue to affect anything.
No.
And then that's gone.
It's a little bit like The Room.
It's
in
like
that
a
it
cool
brings
mo-
up big plot
Oh,
points, which
God,
then just
Jake.
drop off
That's a horrible indictment.
precariously.
Yeah, but that
Just in that sense.
right, like it shows up because isn't she like bleeding from like her nostril?
nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she
Like,
falls
what the
off the
fuck is she
balance
taking?
beam, and then has the scene where she like breaks down in tears, and it's like I keep trying to lose weight and I can't, and the coach is like
Gozer the Gozerian.
The coach has a Gozer haircut.
So I was thinking about who the coach looks
you
like.
She looks like if Jane Lynch fused with Gozer.
That's
and
really
and got
good.
red hair.
See, my mental description of the coach was she looks like Cynthia Nixon playing Tilda Swinton playing David Bowie.
That's really good.
We are all right, and we are all circling around somebody you should be able to imagine very vividly at this point.
Yeah,
Think of the cover of Aladdin Sane, the album Aladdin Sane.
That's basically, she's
basically the gym
Ziggy
coach.
Stardust.
she's British and has a short red mullet.
Yeah, it's the most 80s shit you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, and is it red?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's this part when when they're like, the coach is like, I'm going to talk to your father about these pills you're taking. And she's like, he's a doctor. Who do you think is giving me these pills?
Or no, she goes, where do you think I got
getting
them?
the
Yeah.
pills.
Obviously, I don't think they meant to assume that the dad was
The dad's like, you're too
getting fat.
Yeah, you're getting thick.
Right.
Eat these speed pills.
But like, that's the thing. These two like nice rich people should have been combined into one character.
Yeah.
Probably just Mark.
Yeah.
Where he can be training with her, and then he can turn out to be a dick.
Yeah.
And then and drop the eating disorder plot, and again just streamline it. Now can we talk about the secret place that she trains?
Wait.
And also her black friends.
Yes.
There are some feel kind of tokenish black friends, but the Mark character, just one last thing.
Yes.
I like the idea of a guy who is what I call a bro with a heart of gold, right?
Right.
A kind of character that I meet IRL.
They exist. I've met them. It's always kind of
Dummies who are like, they're just sweet guys, but you don't have a lot in common, but they're like very friendly and like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right.
that's Mark.
And you keep thinking like, I should hate
He's
you,
benign.
but you're very nice.
But you're super likable. And so Mark has like the thing is, there's, except for like the dad, the other like primary male characters in this movie are fairly nice people. And like,
Yeah, they're all pretty supportive.
but I like the idea
Robin.
of a person who becomes unattractive because of how passive they are in their own life. Like, not a guy who is revealed to actually be mean, but a guy who is revealed to be kind of without principle and like just way too breezy and passive about things that are going on around him. And it is a product of like how easy his life has been.
That's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good
And
character.
you go, you know what? You don't have integrity. Like that Robin should be like pissed at him for not defending her even more.
Or he
something
would
like
be the
that.
type of character that, at first doesn't notice Robin, but then sees that she has talent, and then you're like, oh my God, are they actually going to get together? And they do for a little bit, but then he starts
because
to see
they're
the
also
complications.
training together.
Yeah,
Because we're combining these characters into one
Yes.
person, and that should honestly be it. Because since he is so undeveloped up to the party scene, when he kind of like disagrees with his dad, he's like, Dad, no, she's my friend.
Dad, no,
But-
don't do
but-
it.
Okay.
But it just becomes kind of nothing because we don't know we don't know enough about him, and he's not enough of a character.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should be done. But okay, can we please talk
Yeah, we
about
can- yes.
about
Yeah, fuck Mark, let's
the
not talk about
the
Mark.
like abandoned building where she trains.
Yeah. Okay. So they're taking a cue again from Flashdance. Where is a girl who needs to have dreams that she can believe in going to practice the dreams?
Suppose
Yeah,
she's just
it
a
has to
steel
be in
town
a-
girl on
yeah.
a Saturday night looking for the
and
fight
she's
of her
looking
life.
to craft her dreams into beliefs.
And she's gonna put on those weird little fuzzy leg warmers,
the gators or whatever.
the gaiters, and she's gonna hop on her motorcycle and blast across Buffalo into an abandoned warehouse
Again, it's getting real Purple Rain right here.
where she has obviously some sort of tacit agreement with
Wait,
the...
but hold on. The way they intro this character
Oh, it's so good.
is wonderful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh my God.
This
Again,
character-
they did get me with this scene. I was like,
I'll say who the character is, and then
Oh,
you
yeah.
can say how they introduce him.
Sure. I'm sorry.
So it's just, she just has an agreement, obviously, with the night guard, the night security guard at this warehouse, that she can practice in this space and he won't blow her cover. But she goes in, starts playing music, and starts dancing. And how do you find out that this guard actually works there and doesn't seem to care? Or does care, but is very
Well, I was
positive.
gonna say they try and play a trick on you a bit, where she's
Right.
like, "Hello," like she like walks into this big warehouse and it's dark, and this
it's
man.
also it's very dark and it's lit like it. I'll probably talk about this
like
more.
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, it looks like the boiler room.
It's lit with like thin shafts of like blue light, mostly coming from angles, so people are
Yeah.
kind of backlit.
Right.
And you often can't see their faces.
It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
And then this man, who is basically just a silhouette, comes sidling up very sinisterly and goes like, "All right, let's see what you got. Like, let's see the entertainment for tonight."
It's so creepy.
And she starts like disrobing into her like
Yeah.
dance leotard, and you're like, "Oh no, she's like
turning tricks at
she's
night.
turning tricks to like help support her family on the side or something." And then this like incredibly 80s music starts playing, and she's like doing back handsprings off of like steam pipes, and then it's just like it turns out that the guy is just like her best bud. Well, he's like
Yeah.
doing these like goofy dances, and he's like,
He also-
"Yeah, go Robin,
well,
go!"
He steps forward into the light,
Right.
and then you can see that he's dressed in like a security guard uniform.
but it still doesn't dispel.
And
the
he's also
fear.
standing on a walkway that seems to be high above her, looking
Yeah.
down at her.
Yeah.
And as he watches her dance to her 80s soundtrack, he dances
as well.
honestly equally as good as she does.
He's just into it.
He's got some serious moves.
And so we should say here, there are two black characters in the movie. One of them
Yes.
is a night watchman. The other one is
Bus driver.
the bus driver. They are also best friends.
with a high school girl.
Yeah, well,
and with each other.
And with each other, yeah.
yeah, and so like there's a part where
What a combo.
and
Yeah.
and they're probably like 10 years older than her.
Yeah,
Easily.
at least.
Yeah,
Easily.
but there's a part where they show up
15.
and she's like giving them like free like comped service at like the cleaners where she works, and then her stepdad is all angry about that. But it's just again this
Yeah.
this totally seems like they are these token characters of color.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you know, she should have like some like hip black friends as well.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like a
Oh, yeah,
gesture.
it's the
I mean,
80s.
again, it's one of these ham-fisted gestures towards inclusion. Like, you know, they are supposed to be perceived as just good, normal guys that live in Buffalo and are
Right.
like clearly see that this like 16-year-old
Has a dream.
has
She
a dream, and
But,
you know
yeah,
Who are
they're
they
gonna-
to not help aid that dream?
I night guard this steam room warehouse
Yeah.
filled with pipes that are basically like gymnastics equipment. Like,
Also,
Yeah.
there's
of
then
course,
the point.
somehow we struck an agreement. Right, it was totally normal, and you come in the dead of night, and
Yeah,
I
like
watch
2
you
a.m.
dance. Yeah,
And there's then the point where
I
she
dance on the
returns
walkway.
to the warehouse again, but then there's like two different guards there.
Yeah.
And who are like, no, what are you doing? You can't do this.
Yeah.
But
Right.
here's the
I
thing.
think she would have
that
worked
guy
out the
gets
schedule.
fired.
I feel like it's one
like,
thing.
why were you fired? Why is there a little girl in your
In your warehouse on your
in a
watch?
leotard flipping off of steam pipes? And he's like, "Cause I like to dance." And it's just like, this is unacceptable. You're fired.
Not a good reason.
I feel
sir.
like it's one thing for it to have like the security guard character. The bus driver character doesn't need to be there at all.
Whoever made friends with their bus driver?
I don't know. We could be getting things right.
I mean,
Like,
But also, it's like, you know, what, like, why can't one of the like African American characters be like a student at the school?
Yeah, like someone in the school. Or
Right. Like, why is it
her coach maybe or something.
Why is it just these two older men
teammate,
that she
yeah.
seems to hang out with a bunch
Yeah,
who
that
are
was
also
random.
best friends?
But it does.
And,
That
and, like,
random.
they go to Niagara Falls to like support her in the dance competition or
Yeah.
the gymnastics competition.
And then when
at
her
the end.
dad is gonna rough her up, then they freaking take him on
And
too.
Keanu.
And Keanu.
Keanu's there too.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
tag team her dad. Just
Right.
fuck that guy
Tag
up.
team.
Honestly, they're like Chekhov's
Trying to
token.
turn him out.
Yeah, they're like Chekhov's token black characters.
Yeah.
It's like she's friends with them just so they can save her from her abusive stepfather.
Well, it
Yeah.
feels like a foreign interpretation of like. They so clearly are just stealing from like the two things you said mostly. So it's just like
Right.
There's like what's in like it's a salt of the earth like working class town and like
Yeah.
Honestly, with these characters, it is more diverse than like most John Hughes movies.
yeah.
It's true.
But
But also
They are
they're
pretty
not-
damn stereotypical.
It's not suburban Chicago.
But since
Yeah.
we're talking about the whole like dancing in the warehouse scene, I want to talk about the way this movie looks. Because Jake, I was talking about this with you a lot the other day because you watched Flashdance for the first time.
Yep.
And I'm really fascinated by just that wave in the 80s of like these British directors from TV commercials with
Right.
these like who were these intense visual stylists.
Yep.
Who directed like hundreds and hundreds of commercials. And like the notable ones are like Ridley and Tony Scott
Adrian Lynn.
and Adrian Lynn.
And Alan Parker.
John
And Alan
Glazer.
Parker.
Glazer?
John
no-
Glazer was
no,
he's
he-
a next generation.
Yeah, he's a
that's
90s
after,
guy.
okay.
Yeah,
He's younger
it
than
was
all those
specifically these
chaps.
people, and they came into like Hollywood in the 80s.
Yeah.
And they would make very mainstream, like pop commercial movies, but with these intense visual styles. And that's
Yeah.
how you get like the example I always point to is you look at Beverly Hills Cop 1 and Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Mm-hmm.
Beverly Hills Cop 1, directed by Martin Brest, it looks like a classic 80s movie.
He did the breast he could. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's a classic, like just it looks like a movie from the 80s. It's just like standard like high key lighting. Do you guys
Right.
know what high key lighting means?
Why don't you explain to us?
I'll explain
I
it.
do, but I would love to just for the audience.
No,
to know.
I know. what
I
it
know,
is,
but yeah.
tell for the audience.
It's like a very specific cinematography term.
no,
that
I know.
don't- yeah. Okay. So high key lighting basically means like you lit people flatteringly. Like you make sure they are well lit, and so like there's a light hitting like the front of their face,
Right.
so you can see them very clearly. And it's just like it's what you'll see a lot in like comedies where everything is very bright, everyone is very well lit. It's
it.
not stylized. It's just going for like everything. Like you can see everything.
It's definitely visible.
It's very like everything is
No
very
darkness here.
right.
Just
and,
laughs.
Low key lighting is where like because
Chill
in like
lighting.
3-point lighting, the key light is the primary like the strongest light hitting the subject.
Right.
And so like high key, it's going to be like you'll have a nice bright flattering light hitting your subject's face.
Is it key fill edge?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Gold
plus.
star for
low
me.
key lighting is where you won't really have that strong primary light source hitting their faces. It'll be a lot more backlight. You'll have characters silhouetted a lot more. You'll use a lot more shadow and darkness. And so you look at Beverly Hills Cop 2, which Tony Scott directed, and suddenly it's like Axel Foley is in the police station, but that police station is lit entirely with like no interior lights and just the light coming in through the shades. in these,
partially
like,
drawn curtains so that the light comes in staggered strips.
Exactly.
Man, the
and it's
Scots
like
love light.
And the lamp
Yeah.
is somehow neo-noir, hugely projected on one wall, and just
Yeah.
spinning slowly, clearly not providing any breeze for
right.
anybody.
It's sort of like that. And you look at like Flashdance, a big poppy 80s movie, and Adrian Lynn will light it mostly through these like shafts of light coming in through windows, like casting really hard shadows on things. You'll look at like the climactic dance scene in that movie where the judges are like mostly engulfed in shadow.
Yep.
And
there's just huge blocks of light coming through these open windows, staggered.
Or like Top Gun, which would pretty much influence the way every action movie looked for the next 15 years. That's a movie, like, it, again, big poppy movie, but it's like with really heavy uses of like filters. So like everything is like set at sunset.
You know what's funny?
Everyone
though?
is silhouetted.
Yeah.
Like everything is like, kind of tinted orangey. It's like really, really dramatic lighting. And this flying / Dream to Believe / Teenage Dream.
Thank you for getting all 3 titles.
I think is very much pulling from that school. I mean, like the scene.
Oh, 100%.
Like the scene where Robin and Tommy have sex for the first time. It's all lit with this dramatic, like blue light coming from one direction, kind of like low, like warm orange light coming from the other. Like everything looks like a music video.
You think like somebody's gonna get murdered or something?
Isn't that the song?
Yes. Also, again,
how could it not
We
be?
gave in to love.
yup, that is the song.
Yeah, something like that.
It's so
Tommy Wernicke.
When she's
So
dancing in the warehouse too, there's that like almost like there's that part where it's just like it's like curtains blowing for no reason in like a factory setting, just like
Right.
billowing.
what are these
and
sheer
she's like
curtains
just
doing?
dancing among them.
Yes, it is totally just like an 80s pop video.
Yeah.
But it's just funny because it's just, again, this feels like it's just imitating things that are popular at the time. Because
Right.
like the director and cinematographer, like they actually, do you guys know what the director also directed?
No.
I have Paul Lynch's stuff here.
Jake, tell us what his most notable film is before this, because after Flying / Dream to Believe / Teenage Dream, he pretty much exclusively did TV. But he has one notable thing on his filmography before this.
Oh man, is it the Mario movie?
No, it's
That
Brothers?
that was like 93.
Yeah, after.
No, before it.
Oh, before this. Sorry.
Pat, I'm gonna say I'm not too clear on what you're referring to. Is it the horror film Prom Night?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the slasher, the early 80s slasher movie Prom Night.
Prom Night's pretty good.
That is-
I've never seen Prom Night.
That is this director's main movie before this, like, teen drama gymnastics movie.
That's so bizarre.
I know. And it's kind of like how when we talked about Halloween H2O, and it was the director of like a bunch of like movies in the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yeah.
And then also Soul Man.
Yeah.
Wait,
just randomly nestled in there.
Can we really quick? Is it Victoria Diabo? Who's plays Robin? We didn't say who.
Olivia
Robin is.
Dabo?
Olivia
Yeah.
Diabo.
Dabo? I don't know.
Her sister is the more famous one, right? She has like a sister.
Olivia, lowercase d, apostrophe capital ABO, Jabo.
Who's British?
Is she?
Yeah, and she's in Conan the Destroyer.
Yes,
And actually-
that's how I know her.
And-
And she was like the cute little like way too young princess that was like just dwarfed by giant prime physical fitness Arnold Schwarzenegger the whole time.
I've never seen Conan the Destroyer. She's worked consistently, but it's been
her first film.
It's been a lot of animation voiceover roles and just random TV appearances.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does she have a sister? Am I hallucinating that notion? Like, or
Let me look.
I don't see anything here talking about like a
siblings?
famous
She had
sister.
a ton of work done by the later. Yeah. Damn.
She looks okay.
She looks fine, but it's just like, I mean, it's a different face.
Oh, she was. Apparently, she's best known for her role on The Wonder Years.
Oh. She's good in this. That's all I wanted to say, kind of.
Yeah,
Was like,
honestly,
she
like-
sells it. Like,
Oh no, she did have
she
a.
seems like
she
the
had
quietly
a-
suffering kind of person who's like in a shitty home life. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know much about like the background on the practical stunts done in this, or whether or not she was able.
She had
to
a
do,
dance double.
She had a dance double.
Yeah.
She didn't do any.
Well, I mean, like they always had dance doubles,
Right.
but interestingly,
Flashdance had a dance double.
several.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. Okay, one problem I did have was like this movie veers between like the lighter teen kind of like inspirational movie of John Hughes' style with like the darker adult themes of like these other 80s movies they're drawing from, and they don't always mesh very well. I do
Right.
like them being in like kind of like downtrodden blue collar like Buffalo. I like seeing like alcoholics outside of the Salvation Army. I like, you know, to touch on this notion of like home abuse and, you know, this kind of thing, like financial stress. But there is that leering kind of sexualization of like young girls, basically, that is like kind of like gross.
You raised two ideas, and I want to talk about both of them.
Okay.
The first is this idea of just like this shitty world that she's like, just, you know, shitty home life, Buffalo being a bleak, unpleasant place. But here's but
sorry anybody, but your Buffalo sucks.
Yeah.
I got some friends that are living in Buffalo. Shout out.
I would drive through it on my my way to and from college. I went to college in Ohio, and I was always just like, let's get out of here. But here's
For it, Mom.
But here's the thing.
It's one horse town.
About this type of movie, the movie, you know, about not necessarily a high school student, but someone with a dream to believe.
A glimmer in their eye and a freaking chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, whether it's Flashdance, whether it's Purple Rain, but here's the thing: they always have their ambition is always a thing that will get them out of there. It's like they want, like in Flashdance, she wants to leave her steel working job,
And yet marries basically the owner of the steel mill at the end of that movie.
Weird, but she
Odd
wants,
movie.
but it's like get into this prestigious dance academy.
Yeah.
Purple Rain, he wants his music career to like, you know, take him away from like his terrible home life.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. In this movie,
Purple Rain's so funny.
Robin doesn't really it's like she likes gymnastics. She would like to win, but it's not like winning this high school competition is going to take her away from anything.
No,
It's
she
like-
just likes dancing because
what
it
it's like?
transports her out. She has an out-of-body
she can
experience,
fly.
and then she imagines what she thinks it would be like how a robin feels when it's flying.
And here's the thing.
Yeah,
Here's-
because she's called Robin.
it just
Did you
occurred-
ever think about how that's a bird?
It just occurred to me
Yeah.
that she talks about feeling like a bird, and her name is Robin.
Yeah, she a bird. And
But here's the thing.
A girl.
That's the sort of thing where they should make the gymnastic sequences more like they should treat them more subjectively, so we get the sense of like maybe like in slow motion, like what she's feeling.
Yeah, it should be like Raging Bull at the end.
Yeah.
Let's get inside her head.
Honestly, it should, because they're shot from the perspective of like bystanders just watching a gymnastics routine, and we don't get a sense watching them of like the joy that she feels escaping like the normal world.
Yeah.
And also it seems like a really obvious thing that these movies usually have. Obviously, it leads up to a big final performance or routine or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this is another place where I feel like this movie does not live up to the similar movies. You know, you look at the final, like the dance audition in Flashdance,
Right.
Which is, it's the thing that she's been working on for the whole movie. It's the culmination of all her effort. And it is this big, like euphoric dance sequence. It's shot really slickly. Again, there the camera work captures like the actual experience. Like the camera moves like it's dancing. There's a choreography to the camera work,
Right.
And so you really feel like, okay, this is the culmination of all her efforts. You see like these moves that she's been doing throughout the film. You look at like Purple Rain. It builds to the big like it just turns into a concert at the end. It's like 3 songs in a row, and
So good.
And again, it built well. Again, I mean, like he just. That movie fucking ends with him playing Purple Rain and Baby I'm a Star and I Would Die for You. And it's like, oh, wait, okay, this is like the greatest musician of all time. Like,
Right,
of course he will be a success.
The
He's just
notion
playing
is
3 tracks off
ludicrous
the
that
album.
people weren't into it at any point.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love the movie Purple Rain. The weirdest thing about it is that when he's performing Darling Nikki, and the
Yeah.
idea that anyone would not be into that.
He's playing
is
Darling. He's pouring his heart. He's like writhing on stage. It's like awesome. And
Yeah,
and
he's
like,
humping the
you can't be
microphone
doing this
stand."
shit up there.
Yeah.
Right. People are trying to have a good time.
Ew.
No one likes
What is
this
she
new
doing with the
stuff.
magazine?
Ew. Is she? First of all, hey, good question. Is she masturbating with the magazine?
I've wondered
or
this for years.
while looking at the magazine? We never really figured that out, huh?
And now we'll never know
Just
because
rubbing the
R.I.P.
spine on her
Prince.
pussy.
Just rubbing a glossy page of a magazine.
Yeah, it could work.
Who knows?
Oh, see, I was imagining it rolled up like
Yeah,
a dildo.
Yeah, yeah,
And just sticking it in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
like a
boy.
rolled up mag.
That doesn't sound good at all.
Nope.
Yeah.
They get a paper cut.
What kind of magazine do you
Oh.
think it was? Nickelodeon magazine?
Yeah, freaking zoo books.
Mad magazine?
Ranger Rick.
Have we lost all our listeners by
Yeah.
now?
Nah, dude.
Anyway,
Nah.
but like all I'm saying is, okay, very very simple script doctoring right here.
Yeah.
There should be one
flying.
There should be one specific, really difficult gymnastics move that she's been trying to practice and perfect for the whole movie and been struggling with, and then it's the thing that she like lands perfectly at the end of the routine.
Especially because she has a knee injury, aka
Right.
the adversity that could make you ambivalent about whether or not she would even accomplish the move at the end.
It's so obvious. It's just it's the thing that you do. You
Nah,
you, like,
I don't.
And then she overcomes her accident, thereby having a cathartic release from the death.
because like because
her-
when we're watching, we're just
of
You
her
like,
guys
father.
are squares. You guys, I hate all these writerly conceits. No.
Catharsis.
Listen.
Vis-a-vis.
She just
Concordantly.
She just her knee's fine. She does
Hero's
something that
journey.
is ultimately meaningless, and it doesn't transport her out of her situation. That feels it's like Frances Ha.
Yeah, but Matt, it's not about the
this
the
is not trying to be
destination.
Frances
It's
Ha.
about the friends
It's
she
trying to
made
be
along the way.
Flashdance.
Yeah.
I'm saying it accidentally stumbles on some thing. I know it's trying to be something that would
Traveled forward in
necessitate.
time and tried to be a Noah Baumbach movie.
Shut up.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here. Don't you.
Forget about it.
I'm allowed to look with hindsight on something.
Sure.
Asshole.
All right, fair.
honestly, okay, Matt, I hear what you're saying. Here's how that movie.
feel you.
Here's how that movie should end.
And I feel seen and I appreciate it and I hear
Good.
you.
Here's how that movie should end. Instead of it just ending with her and Keanu being happy and walking down the street in Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
When you roll credits over it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It should end with her returning home to Buffalo, back to her sad life. But then she goes up to her bedroom and just sits there and smiles, thinking of this thing she's experienced, and that is just that feeling is enough to get her through
Yes,
this.
she dreamed.
And
Yeah. And
she believed
and
at
she
the same
did
time.
dream, yeah.
Right, you just have to have a return to that life. But because it ends
Yeah.
on this
And
moment
she
of victory and
believed.
euphoria, I think that needs to be emphasized more by just making it clear to the audience, by giving her a move that she finally to show this ultimate victory.
Right. Before she gets pregnant by Keanu. And
The dark sequel.
yeah, and she's put all of her self-worth into this idea of being able to do back handsprings and stuff, and she's just ultimately going to get old and physical beauty and
Pretty quickly
ability
not be able to
fade
do
and
the
just-
back
and just
handsprings.
start to hate herself. Yeah.
Also, can I do
live in
another
Buffalo.
script doctoring?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the beginning of the movie, she's
The
not.
script can just every scene needs doctoring. So just
Yeah.
doctor every
It's
scene.
not like there's these finessed tweaks.
It's so close to perfection, and I'm gonna
Flying is
get there.
almost a perfect movie. If only we could get our little grubby hands on it back in time.
But there is something I find appealing about this sort of formulaic 80s teen movie.
Yeah.
With this sort of because this was a very specific moment in time where you got movies like Flashdance, and you also got movies like 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, and obviously they would influence movies that would continue to go on for decades, but there was this very specific era. And since I didn't grow up in that era, I was born in 87, it's like this a window into this other world, because also the 80s aesthetics and tone and style are so distinctive. And
Right.
so-
That's
and-
why there's this nostalgia for people that never lived in that era.
Right. But
You consumed visual media based on that era, which completely colors your notion of quote unquote aesthetics.
Exactly.
That's why you get retro in music, especially. You get vaporwave and retro 80s synthwave and all that kind of shit.
yeah.
that's totally it. And the thing is the whole sort of John Hughes caste system of high school, it frustrates me when I see that same sort of social hierarchy used in modern movies, because to me it's not an accurate representation of like my high school experience, but I enjoy it in 80s movies because it's like it feels like a different time.
Right.
And same thing, like I like the aesthetics of like the sort of, you know, your Tony Scotts and Adrian Lynn's, like doing your super glossy like music videos that are just teen movies.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. And like I appreciate like the formula of it. And this movie is very close to hitting all these formulas, but it's just kind of a little bit messy about it in certain ways. I'm like, I want to get it there. And so
Yeah.
I say that's like a build up to my other big note.
Okay.
It's weird how at the beginning, we don't see her do gymnastics for a while.
She seems like basically the water girl.
Exactly.
Like the towel person.
Yeah, she's just there, and I don't really get why. I don't get why she's there. Just like the awkward like assistant girl for a while, and
Yeah.
Is she not fully allowed onto the team at that point? Is she not a
No, but
member?
that doesn't mean you're just got to keep all your like clothes, like regular outside clothes on, and just give people towels.
Hey man, I'm grasping at straws here. I just
Yeah.
thought maybe that they kind of like how they didn't establish Mark, and after a while just sort of fade him out of the script. Like, did they just not do their due diligence and write an actual scene? You
There's
know,
a lot of-
maybe they
yeah.
had her in the first draft as not on the team, and then later when they were writing it, just wrote her into the team without writing a scene where that happened.
there's the scene where she
That's how
shows
some
up.
of these scenes feel,
Well,
as if they made decisions without remembering what they did earlier.
Yeah. No, it's
Things
true.
just burst in and then just be like wrenched out of the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the scene where she shows up and basically like auditions for the team or like tries out for the team.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, everyone's like, oh, whoa, she's good.
Yeah.
And I just feel like you didn't need to have her there just, you know, awkwardly helping out for a while. Like the whole sort of like, you know, decision to why does she try out now? I feel like they should just simple rewrite. Just have there be tryouts.
Yeah.
Just like at the
Right at the
beginning of the
beginning.
season. It's just like, oh, here's the tryouts. And so you get, but this is like, then after you've established like that she is like, you know, a loser in school. And so no one expects anything of her. And then she can wow them at the tryouts rather than having her just at their practices. And that just confused me a little bit. But,
Yeah.
but Matt, I want to get back to the thing that you were saying before about the sexualization of teenage girls.
Oh yeah. Let's just briefly touch on that one. But it's there.
Just a brief recap of the sexualization of teenage girls. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. So these are high schoolers.
And they're sweating a
They're
lot.
sweating it up in leotards and
Their legs are pumping.
yes, and there's a lot of just sort of slow panning to sort of mimic one's gaze as it goes across the body of just this person, and it's
I mean, we're gonna have to examine the whole fucking decade of films if we're gonna talk
we'll
about
use
this.
as the microcosm.
Yeah.
We're not gonna. We don't have
Yeah.
to talk about '80s culture
Yeah,
in like at
that's what I
large.
mean.
Right.
All right.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
Microcosm
when
it.
we were hanging out over the weekend, we were actually like, we rewatched a couple scenes in Flashdance.
Yeah.
And it's a similar sort of thing, like a lot of like close-ups of like thighs,
Right.
like legs, faces.
physicality, yeah.
Yeah, stuff
Oh,
like that.
I mean, that movie, like every scene is sexual.
I mean, like,
Some of it very explicitly
it just,
sexual.
the thing is, it
Well, that's
fetishizes
not-
everything.
But that's
Yeah.
not bad innately for like if it's just like someone doing sexy dancing or like that's like the nature of the scene. The problem is that it's like they're 16 years old or something in this fucking movie.
Right. It's
Yeah.
one of those things, and because this is so sort of
But
the
they're still
norm,
trying to play it this way where it's like and
Right.
here's something for daddy.
and that's the thing.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? Dom DeMillo style.
All these types
Dad's
of
working at
movies,
the Steam shop all day.
they're always like, they were always directed by men.
Yeah,
And
right.
so the thing that when I was like watching this, I'm just looking at how some of these shots are framed. It's like, okay, so when she's like laying on her stomach doing these like leg crunches, like, do we shoot it from that angle where she's kind of like arching her back and stuff like that? Like,
Right.
But and what I was thinking of, because this got pointed out a bunch like on Twitter in like 17? I lost all track of time.
I don't know.
But the difference, so between the movies Wonder Woman and Justice League, how the difference between how Patty Jenkins and Zack Snyder shot Gal Gadot.
Sure.
In terms of like similar action scenes, but you just looked at the difference in how they framed shots.
Oh, that's interesting.
And like if you look at like
I didn't see any of those. So
and
what happened?
I did obviously.
I'm just yeah.
And but you look at like a simple little action scene in like Justice League, and it's not like Snyder is doing his like full on like sucker punch like ultra fetishizing, but it's still like, oh, this is just like shot from an angle where like her butt is really prominent in the frame, or like you can sort of see up her skirt for a second,
right?
And
Yeah.
and then and then in Wonder Woman it's like, oh, you know, Patty Jenkins directed this, and she just didn't frame shots that way.
Yeah.
It's just this
Fisheye lenses on her butt. Just at every scene for
Limp
Zack
Bizkit
Snyder.
music video
Put
style.
a fisheye lens on it. Is it her butt? What lenses do we have?
Well, let's
Do we
fix
have-
that.
Zach's just looking around. Do we have the fisheye lens still? What is this shot of? It's just her, I don't know. She's just like picking up a
standing.
sword.
Yeah.
What are we close up
She's
on?
talking to
Nothing, just your breasts.
Congress.
Anyway. Why do we need a fisheye lens? Make the boobies look bigger. Zach.
No.
And then we do the Fountainhead after this. Or
Guys,
whatever.
Look, I want Zack Snyder to make the Fountainhead so bad.
Me too.
Hell yeah,
I'm not
dude.
gonna lie.
I want
wanna see
Ayn
him do
Rand's
it.
entire output.
Look, just do you, Zack Snyder, and if the Fountainhead is you, do
Yeah.
it.
Look, it's such a funny idea to me. Just like this guy
The
who
perfect architect. Can't wait to watch this.
I can't wait to
stupid
watch.
movie.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch about the fucking island of geniuses and like moguls of industry.
He was the perfect
Trains.
architect.
And all the government's good at is making a machine that causes pain or something. If I remember, I did read.
And everybody that asks you for money is a moocher. And
Yeah.
you're worse than an ant.
Yeah,
Anyway, this is a long
I
way.
did
of-
read the book. Full disclosure,
I read Atlas Shrugged, and
I read Atlas Shrugged is what I'm
when I
trying
was
to say. Yeah.
when I was 16, and I actually
Oh, Atlas
genuinely
Shrugged
liked
is the
book.
that's the train one.
That's the one with
Yeah.
Brad
John
Pitt,
Galt.
right?
and-
Yeah,
Is
who
it
is-
Brad
he was
Pitt?
the perfect
Who is
train
John Galt?
steelmaker.
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Galt.
Wait, did you
yeah.
say Brad Pitt?
Wasn't he? Wasn't
No,
there a movie?
Yes, they made a multi-part adaptation of Atlas Shrugged,
Yeah.
starring no major
Nobody.
movie stars
Man.
at all. It was like an
Was it rumored
independent
that
production.
like Angelina Jolie wasn't some fucking person supposed to be in that? Like,
No, maybe they wanted them to. It's not like they got anyone of note. It's not like it's not like anyone. It didn't make it much money. It was a failure.
well, A is A. So
Yeah.
okay,
Nice. Thanks for your objectivist philosophy
yeah,
101.
A is A. Argue with me about that.
You a big fan of Steve Ditko and his character Mr. A?
I love. Yeah, damn.
Anyway, this is all a long way of saying that, this is a movie. It's a little male gazy.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
To use a cinema studies term.
Yeah,
It is a little male gazy. And you know what? I rescind a little bit my statement that it was that you get to sort of take refuge in the decade in which it was made and to sort of take it with a grain of salt, because there were plenty of examples of movies that didn't do this. Even ones directed by similar directors. Adrian Lyne, he made a film called Foxes.
I haven't seen it.
In the year 1980. And it is a movie about a bunch of high school girls who are living in the San Fernando Valley, and they are just trying to get by. And it's a very slice of life movie made by a director who is just as responsible. I mean, he made Flashdance, so he is directly responsible for all of these dance movies like Flying, what we're talking about.
yeah.
And for all of these low-lit horror movie visuals that then gave male directors an excuse to like backlight booties and
Right, yeah. Give some nice
and stuff
chiaroscuro
like that.
shading to.
and he makes like probably one of the most like low-key tasteful movies about just like young high school girls. That's
Whoa.
just very, very low-key.
I've got to see
and
this
good.
movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
And Jodie Foster's in it, and she's awesome.
I think the thing with Flashdance is just
Yeah.
like, remember, it's a Joe Esterhaus screenplay, the guy who wrote Basic
Yeah.
Instinct and Showgirls.
Yeah.
And I feel like,
right, yeah.
you know,
Good to note, yeah.
Classy writer.
Adrian Lyne
Showgirls,
gets
baby.
that, and he's like, okay, so this is just a movie where I fetishize everything.
Well, I mean, this movie too, talking about Flashdance and this one as well, both films have these very jarring just interruptions of thick beated 80s songs. Like these
Except in this movie, they
engaged
couldn't
drums
afford
and, like,
any.
yeah.
But this movie, they couldn't afford any famous ones.
Yeah.
So it's just ones that sound
They got close.
They sound similar to songs you've heard before,
Right.
but you haven't heard these songs before.
Yeah, it's just like, you got a dream, you're dancing your heart out, baby. You're
Oh,
dance
yeah.
on a Saturday night.
Just
you
disrupts
gotta
any
dance
flow.
and feel your nice. Just like, it's just that constantly dropped at like...
Also, listeners, anyone who wants to take what Matt sang there and like add some synths to it, please.
Yeah, please do.
Go ahead, send it to us.
I need a hit.
Yeah, send it to us at keanupodcast@gmail.com.
But so, yeah, you're saying, you know, you don't have to like... there's no... It's usually a bad idea to just completely forgive based on time frame or whatever.
I know what
and
you
this
mean.
this movie, like, it's not really like the point either. Like,
Also,
It's too silly to take that seriously at the end of the day.
if it's trying to be a teen movie, you shouldn't do that. You know, like,
Again,
so, like, it's
this
just
movie
like,
is told from the perspective of its lead character.
Right.
So maybe, you know, the visual style and tone of it should reflect the perspective of the lead character.
And once again,
Yeah.
I have a
100%.
sneaking suspicion that Olivia
Diabo.
I just got a hunch that she had a rough go of it.
Just as far as her career
just as something
after the
that like I
movie?
brought to my own viewing of it, that like, because you know, like, there's like your viewing of a movie and like the kind of garbage you bring where you're like, it's just me, I'm
Yeah.
going in this gross direction in my own head, I'm at fault.
Yeah.
And then there's like what the director's specifically doing, and that's what's happening here, which is like, yeah. And then also topped with, I just have this hunch that that actress had a hard time. And
It wouldn't surprise me. And honestly, I wish this were a better movie that also came from like a major American studio, because like she's totally solid in the movie, and I could see if this were just had been seen by more people at the time and gotten a wider release, it could have like, you know, launched her to have a bigger career.
Yeah.
Also, the thing is, I just want to say her dance double for the movie.
oh yeah, shout out to this person.
Who was an actress and dancer who had actual roles in Flashdance and Dirty Dancing.
Oh wow, okay.
She played. So Jake, you just watched Flashdance. Do you remember who Tina Tech is?
The character Tina Tech.
Tech, as in Tech.
That's a cool name.
Very cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't.
The dance
like
double.
a
Her name is
android.
Cynthia Rhodes.
Okay.
But yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up. But do you guys have anything else you want to? Oh wait,
Let's talk about Keanu.
I was about to say, wait, can I talk about one other scene before Keanu?
Sure.
The gymnastics off.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this scene up. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
This is the best scene in the whole movie.
Yes.
It's funnier than the fashion off from Zoolander.
Zoolander, yeah. I was
Yeah.
like thinking that.
right.
It's so silly.
They do gymnastics in the street. Also, that part where she flips over the car is pretty cool.
That was super dope.
But I'm gonna throw out some more script doctoring.
No, that scene's perfect. What are
Yeah,
you
that
doing?
scene-
No,
Seems good.
it's not for this scene.
This-
It's just
okay.
in general. But I
You
thought
can
of it
write
during the
around
scene.
it, but you can't write that one.
I think
I'm married to these.
They should have, because like I haven't seen a lot of movies about gymnastics before, and about people who are like really serious gymnasts.
Gymkata.
The most serious movie about gymnastics ever created.
But I feel like they should have coined a new term with this movie. I feel like the people on the team, they don't even say the word gymnastics very much. I think they should call it nastics.
That would be good.
Nastics.
And they should just like I want the Mean Girls to be like those were nasty nastics.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like that would just be cool, and
Yeah.
maybe it would like start a thing. People would be saying
Yeah,
it still
you
now
get to
today.
be Joss Whedon for a second.
Exactly, but there is a scene with some nasty nastics.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same scene where
They have a nastics off. It's
where
cool.
Robin dangles from just like this
Scaffolding.
like scaffolding.
Yeah,
and is
just
like
some random
Hey
out-
Keanu, look
Yeah.
at me, I'm upside down.
And Keanu just immediately pushes his other girlfriend away, his hand to her face, just shoves her out of his way, and he's like,
You
what?
done? What's going on?
And then the two mean rich girls come up and they're like, blah, 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 we don't like you, Robin. And then she's like, yeah, there's a long red carpet apparently that we're all standing on.
A red carpet?
At a diner.
Was there a
maybe.
movie premiere?
Yeah, it's like it looks like they're standing at like a gala event or
Classic
something.
Buffalo.
And all these cars are already conveniently parked lining the length of this red carpet so that their headlights can shine down it.
This also
And-
seems like the kind of place that they should have had more scenes. Like,
Yeah.
you know how every teen drama has a place where the teens hang out, whether it's a diner or a coffee shop or
Right.
a restaurant.
Yeah.
And this seems like it should have been the sort of social hub.
The only other place
I know.
is one of these things that I am deeply nostalgic for, having never experienced it. An 80s dance club where a band is playing and people are singing in cages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
god.
I'm like, when will I get to experience that ever?
Everyone
I know,
has
that seems
elaborate
cool.
makeup on.
And it's just like 16-year-olds are just allowed to go in there and just dance, and everyone's crazy looking, and there's
Yeah.
lasers, and like,
right. I mean,
damn,
it's like an 80s version of the Bronze from Buffy.
that shit rocks.
You can get close to that in Montreal, I learned.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking for
Ooh.
that when I was in Montreal recently.
Clurbs?
And I found some stuff. There's a
You and your wife
dope-ass
going crazy?
club called La Voûte, and it is a dance club in a refurbished bank vault.
Oh, cool.
And they have like the full
the closest
thing
I got
of
was
insane dancing going on.
was
on
like a
stage.
gutted church that was having like a Halloween party.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Wait,
I like
also, we should make the point. There is a history of crazy clubs in Keanu movies.
Ooh, and we will explore all
Well,
of
there
them.
is the Red Circle Club in John Wick.
Right, but we're jumping way ahead.
We've already talked about John Wick.
I
though.
know, but obviously there's the club in The Matrix.
Right.
Like, there is a history of crazy clubs throughout his filmography.
We got to see how it pans out.
Yeah, and let's
See
make
if
a
he
point.
dances in The Prince of Pennsylvania.
yeah.
Whatever that movie is. But let's make a point of like pointing these out when at any time we just see like some sort of like
theme.
intense club in one of
Yeah.
his movies.
Should we discuss Keanu's performance as like a
Yeah, also,
Yeah.
also the gymnastics stuff, it involves a lot of like flips and
Right.
Sprinting down the carpet.
their coach happens to show up and scold them.
Yeah, she's also there. I mean, everyone goes there
For some
to
reason.
get the burger and malt or whatever.
Yeah, the coach shows up to be like, "You disgust me. Why would you do such careless things? You're the best dancer I've ever seen."
Yeah.
And
Also,
you're like,
wait,
hey,
can we talk about
saw a passion there I've not seen in quite some
Yeah.
time.
Can we talk about the weird move the coach pulls where she selects 3 people on the team to compete in the big competition at Niagara Falls?
Yeah.
And one of them is Robin. And then one of the mean girls does not get picked. And then the coach reveals to Robin that she only let her on the team to make the other mean girl work harder because she says like, oh, she's better than you. And
It's pragmatics.
It's
pragmatics.
And then Robin still manages to go, even though she basically says like, "Oh, by the way, you can't go now.
Yeah.
The mean girl is going to take your place because
my
she's been
God.
working harder." It's
Well, Pat, think of this.
weirdly convoluted.
it is convoluted.
but that the coach is just being she's just Final Fantasy tactics.
Can I say?
she's basically saying that the other girl is superior to her, and she's playing Robin in order to get the other girl to work hard because she doesn't. But the actual nested tactic within the tactic is
tactic within the tactic.
getting Robin to work even harder because she has the potential to be better than that girl, and she knows that will drive her.
When she's like double playing.
Right.
She also
and when
drops
she-
this info on Robin shortly after her mother dies.
Yeah, Robin is very
Bad
good at dealing
timing.
with trauma. She compartmentalizes very well. She's
Deals with all this shit a lot better
she
than
deals with a lot of
I
that
would.
shit. I would just be Dunsky if any of even one thing that
Yeah,
happens
like
in her
what the
life
fuck
is
would I care about
happening.
doing a
I mean,
cartwheel?
she would be too if
After
it
all
weren't
this.
for the very good boy named Keanu.
Who cheers her on?
Tommy cheers
Tommy
her on.
Wernicke.
They have a fun sort of
Yeah.
poor people dysfunctional relationship, like argument date for a while. Like the
Yeah.
first time they decide, he's like, "Yeah, well, like if you didn't even like me, well, like fuck you. Like I don't even
Yeah,
like."
I don't
and they
even care anymore.
And they slowly argue their way into being like, I can't stay mad at you.
Well, they argue in such a charming way that their argument they fade out the dialogue and just pump up the song now, and then you get a montage
when
where
you fall in love in a Saturday
and they're like shouting at each other, and it's like, and then they
Which is
eat
just-
hot dogs.
It's such a a foreshadowing of like their fucking like future together.
Yeah,
just yelling at each other,
Oh,
then
volatile.
then kissing after they throw some plates.
But also, can we
Yeah.
point out the weird part where at the gymnastics off,
Yeah.
when one of the mean girls does like a good routine, it just cuts to Keanu like applauding intensely.
Yeah.
He's like cheering for her.
Listen, he just respects skill. It doesn't matter who it's from.
He's just a huge gymnastics fan.
The love of his life, Robin.
He's just a big goof.
Wait, what if there was a reveal that he actually was just obsessed with gymnastics and he only liked her for her gymnastics skills?
yeah, when
Yeah.
he found out that they were there, he was like, damn.
Yeah.
Throw my other
Wait,
girlfriend
maybe-
in garbage.
Yeah. That was it. But I just remember like a woman, and then she like shoots him like a mean look. But
Yeah.
I'm like, Keanu, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like she's
bro.
your friend.
He has a very unpopular opinion. I get this way when I watch like soccer or baseball with people, and I'm like, I don't really have any investment in either of these teams, and I just hope they both do well so we can watch a good game.
Yeah, that
And then
sucks.
everybody that picked a team, aka everybody else in the room,
Right.
just is like,
Who's
get the
watching
fuck
sports.
out of our apartment. Yeah.
Yeah. We have actually an investment in this.
Yeah.
But honestly, like watching Keanu here, I was like, it is very much his kind of, you know, endearing dummy like early persona.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Ted Light in this.
He just starts
is.
off with like, sort of proto Ted kind of.
But
he's very bouncy.
He's very bouncy, but and there is something like inherently likable about him. Like he, I mean, obviously he's the one actor that I'm familiar with going into this movie, but I came away from it like remembering him the best. Like he's really stood out.
Yeah, I came away from it thinking about the movies we had seen most recently, John Wick, and just going, he will be John Wick one
Yeah,
day.
it is
and that
very
is
funny.
crazy to think about.
I should have worn my new cool John Wick shirt.
I know.
Like he's a kid, but like
Yeah,
so
he can't look at anybody,
His
I guess, like
dynamism
that.
is like just more pronounced. Like he's doing more. He's playing a character who's supposed to be more kind of like goofy and awkward but charmingly so. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
thought
a
he did it
different.
well.
It's a different thing.
A thing that I think we'll talk a
Good
lot
child
about
actor.
is just the evolution of Keanu's voice.
Yeah, his voice gets deeper.
It does because
Sometimes his deep voice feels like a put on.
Well, I
Like he
imagine-
seems like our little brother Ben, who for a while just wanted to pretend his voice was deeper than it was.
every time he answered the phone.
And so he started purposely pitching his voice down, and then it just stuck, I think. It's like when you hold your face in a position and your mom's like, don't do that, your face is going to freeze like that. But
he
instead,
faked
it's your
it till he
voice.
maked it.
Yeah,
did
he
it?
faked
Yeah.
it until he made
Maked
it.
and yeah.
Keanu had like this higher pitched voice, and then
Yeah,
eventually he just started.
he would talk like this, and he was just like, you know, yeah, that sounds really cool.
And I think the height of it was in The Matrix when he finally committed. He's like, I'm never going to talk in a high pitched voice again. And then he was just like,
Not getting hurt again.
yeah. Why? No.
Well,
What happens if I can't?
I mean, I just watched The Matrix Revolutions
Yeah.
a few days ago, which I will probably have to rewatch.
Yeah, that's gonna
when
suck
You
for
big
you.
silly.
we get that. It's weird. I don't know when you guys last saw it, but like it's
2003 or whatever.
it's weird. Like we're gonna have a very interesting time discussing the Matrix sequels.
Can't wait.
You are going to have a very interesting time.
Matrix Revolution. I know.
I just a lot of like, shut up! I have more things to say. But look. Here's the thing. I will have already made this video about the Matrix sequels by then.
Yeah.
So I'll have talked a lot about it. So I feel like when we get to there, I'll be really curious to hear how you guys feel about these
Yeah.
movies. But I think the Matrix is the Matrix trilogy is really a transition point for him as an actor in a lot of ways.
Right.
And honestly, looking at the first Matrix, like, you know, because he is kind of like blank and unaware for a lot of the early parts. I mean, like his whole arc is becoming a guy who's kind of
Getting red pilled.
it's just about getting red pills.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's
waking.
about him
It's about
getting-
waking
it's
up
about waking
and
up.
seeing the world how it really is.
Yeah.
Bunch of
Machines.
NPC machines.
But like through the 90s, I'm excited to like we'll be looking at his voice and seeing like where it changes and like when
Yeah.
where it's because I feel like it's not just like the tone of the voice, but it's partially like just like how he speaks, like because like here he's talking like this and
Yeah.
it kind of goes up in like
Yeah.
like it
Kind of goes up.
like yeah, you know, yeah. What Bill? Like what about Socrates? Hey, like I'm Ted Theodore Logan.
Yeah.
do
however
lines
he
from the
talks.
movie
Got
we're
that
talking
upspeak.
about. Do lines from Flying.
What was it like
Oh, what's up, Alvin?
Hey, you see?
Oh, you're so good at gymnastics.
Hey, you see the Bills game the other day?
Nice.
Why don't you come over to my place? You don't have to stay at home. My parents are gone for the weekend.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
fuck.
it's unclear if I have. Well, fuck. It's unclear if I have parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't appear in the movie at all. Let's go to Niagara Falls.
Yeah. Keanu's good in this. I like him.
Probably
Yeah, I mean, like-
more like Viagra Falls.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Nice one. But like his character is again, his character is weird because
Yeah.
for a while he's just like, how do I get this girl to like me? And then he clearly is a like.
Then he's successful and then
Okay,
he loves her.
Yeah, he reads
It's a
the
great
game,
movie.
he smashes, and is good.
And he's super happy.
This needs
Yeah.
a scene where he actually gets mocked by the popular kids.
Yeah.
To like make it clear that he's unpopular.
They also kind of like him.
Wait,
Ew, Tommy.
wait, there's a part. Remember the part where he puts the milk carton on the chair of the Mean Girls and they sit on it and it explodes and they get milk on their butt?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he has some retort that made no sense that I can't remember, but it's like, I thought cats loved milk or something.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
some, yeah,
something
it's
weird like that.
what? Something dumb.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, his laugh too. He has a high pitched laugh in that. That was funny.
But yeah, honestly, like, you know, he stands
bet.
out more than most people in this movie, and
He's just so good.
I'm
looking
excited to watch
already.
more of this. More of this.
Sorry to
this
objectify
nice
a
young
high school
Canadian
boy, but he's like, you know, already just charming and very handsome.
Yeah.
yeah, and his
How old is he when he did this movie?
Uh,
Keanu's first movie, his breakout into the world of acting. How old is he?
We'll
Is he
talk
like
ab-
Josh? Is he 19 or 18?
Probably something. I don't know.
Is he a little
but
older, a little
probably
younger?
Something like that.
Okay, Keanu Reeves, born in 1964. So, if this movie would have
Year
shot
younger
a
than
year
our father.
earlier, so would have shot in 85,
Yeah.
he's like 20, 21.
21. So he's a little older than Josh when he gets his start.
But he's boyish.
And his start isn't even nearly as big as Josh's.
Right. Well,
I mean, Josh rocketed. I mean, Town and Country.
Yeah, are you
yeah.
kidding me?
And, you know, all thanks to these good old brothers from
Yeah.
New York City. Talking about the Weinsteins.
Yeah.
But you can hear more about them on season 1 of this podcast when it was called We Heart Hartnett.
Season one of this podcast. Hartnett.
Yeah. But the thing is, we'll get more into.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, he did have like some TV roles and stuff like that, but we're skipping over that because
Yeah.
it would just drag it out forever. And
TV ain't movies.
Exactly.
Truer words
Exactly.
have never been
Hasn't
said.
Game
But-
of Thrones taught us
But
this?
what is Netflix?
Netflix is computer movies.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
is a
think.
hot dog a sandwich? You
Yeah.
know, that kind of thing.
it's the great debate of our time.
Networks is Netflix and computer movies.
Okay, honestly, like,
On
does
the
anyone have
line.
anything else they need to say about the
Closing
movie
remarks?
Flying?
Absolutely not.
I would like to just say,
This movie was fine.
yeah, this movie in particular was just,
And it's endearing to watch now in this day and age when I think if I was my age at the time, you're being so inundated with that type of movie, you'd think it's hack. But since they don't make that kind of movie anymore, it's just fun to watch for all the cheesy nostalgic factors.
Right. If you want to see the
like a
weird
fun little
Canadian
80s dance movie.
knockoff of Pretty in Pink and Flashdance combined into one film, then watch Flying.
Go see
Sounds ba-
Flying.
which
Slash
sounds-
Dream to Believe / Teenage Dream.
which sounds better than it is when you say those two other movies are combined
Yeah.
into one.
and remember, it's on YouTube. It doesn't cost anything to watch it.
Yeah, dude.
What do you gotta say, Jake?
One last thing I just wanted to also mention. There is the Teenage Dream poster, the movie poster. And I loved this poster just because, A, it highlights Keanu way more than it highlights Olivia Diabo.
Wait, is it the Flying poster?
It's the Teenage Dream version of the poster, which I guess we settled on was maybe the Hong Kong version of this poster. But anyways, what I loved about it is that it has a picture of both Olivia Diabo in a tiny box in the lower left-hand corner, and then a huge thing of Keanu Reeves. Both of their pictures are not pictures of them from the movie. It's like Keanu Reeves with very long hair,
Yeah.
almost shirtless, and Olivia Diabo with like straight long hair.
Wait, oh my God.
And it's just like,
They're in
I-
here.
y'all fucked up the poster.
I'm looking at the posters. I hadn't
You
seen.
panicked and found new
I hadn't
pictures.
seen this one.
You're flying that one's
Whoa.
actually.
Did you
cool.
guys see this one? Okay,
Yeah.
there's this one poster
That's the Flashdance
that is
version.
like
That's
it's the
Flashdance.
very Flashdance one, but it's painted first of all, so it's immediately cooler.
Yeah, it's like
but
Star Wars.
It's mostly like it's mostly
Star
black,
Wars.
and then it's
Yeah.
just like their heads in silhouette about to kiss, and then her with really stark lighting leaping in a gymnastics move, and flying is written in just this like stylized cursive. It's like a good poster.
Yeah.
It's way better than the one where it says flying in like Times New Roman.
Yeah, and she's
while
just
she's
sitting on a bench.
She just sits, like wearing non-athletic clothes,
Doing the sad Keanu meme.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Minus the sandwich.
But so
him.
I think that's like the end of this episode.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say about this.
I want
movie.
to just say one last thing, and I don't know if this is
Say
going to
it.
just be a big letdown and petering out end week, make everyone bummed out, but I'm trying to formulate why we have the cozy sort of nostalgia feeling, because I want to describe like the specific nostalgia of teen, like John Hughes style movies, and I think it has to do with two factors.
Yes.
Just remembering being a teenager, specifically like within the like very closed environment of your, at the time, like full reality, which was like probably your town. So there was like this very like delimited space that you get to live in, and if you're like us, which is a privileged position in some ways, it's just sort of like a suburb or like some kind of like, you know, kind of just like a town where
Right.
you can hang out, and then there is the like nostalgia for how like your goals were so limited as well, but seemed so important, and so like winning the big sporting event,
the
or
dance
like
competition.
going dancing, or like having, you know, your first like girlfriend or boyfriend. Like these were the all-consuming things that took place in this very limited space. And like that creates almost this, that I feel like a ton of nostalgia is just based, especially like for like childhood and stuff, is based on like the limit of your scope of awareness.
Yeah.
And you can kind of be re-injected into that via movies like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because those are newer experiences, you feel them so deeply.
Right.
First cut is the deepest.
And
Yeah,
on
right,
that
yeah.
note, Matt, do you want to deliver your important take on the movie Some Kind of Wonderful? John Hughes' last teen movie.
Do I have an important take?
I thought you did.
Apparently not.
I think it's better, and
Then Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
Because that's the one where Eric Stoltz gets together with Mary Stuart Masterson.
yeah, and because Mary Stuart Masterson is cool in that, she's like a drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty dope.
She is cool.
It's good. Yeah, it's better. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay, I just want to make sure because this is our opportunity to like get your take on that on the record.
And that was bad, so okay.
Shut up, dude.
But next week we are again moving through the early days of Keanu Reeves' filmography. We'll be discussing the film River's Edge, also from '86. Keanu had 3 movies in '86, and in this movie, do you know what Keanu's character's name is?
Ooh, I did look it up, but I forgot. What is it?
Matt.
Yes.
So you get to live vicariously through this film.
Yeah,
I can't wait to.
I have heard it's a depressing movie.
The poster for this calls
Makes
it the
sense.
most controversial film of the year.
River's
Good.
Edge was like a very notorious, and it's honestly a pretty well-known film for what it is.
I'm
at the
excited
time.
to see it.
I'm excited too.
And so we'll be back next week, same Keanu time, same Keanu channel. Listen to this everywhere you get podcasts, and of course follow us on Twitter at Keanu Podcast. Follow us on
Yes.
Instagram at Keanu Podcast. Send us some emails, KeanuPodcast@gmail.com.
Keanu
and-
Podcast.
And we should figure out a good like line to sign off with.
Goodbye.
We'll work on it.